Do you have any idea how many times I've been asked to do this?
Yeah.
I have had Channel 7, Channel 9, Channel 10. I've had the footy show 20 years ago ring me up and, oh, come on the footy show, you know, we'll do this, we'll do that. And I said, no, I'm just not interested.
Australia is home to more than 1,700 small towns. Behind that award-winning vanilla slice is a triumphant sports story. Welcome to 1 Week at a
Time. Nestled in the foothills of Victoria's Alpine is Yackandandah.
The Yackandandah Kangaroos had suffered through a 36-year senior premiership drought before going in as favourites in the 2000 grand final against rivals Barnawartha.
They trailed by a whopping 44 points midway through the second quarter before they launched a comeback for the ages. We sat down with Marcus, Roscoe and Scooter to relive the glory days.
A heap of old guys that I'd known around the club for many, many years were desperate to win a flag, probably more so than a lot of the footballers because of the history.
It was just a really good group that both first and seconds that year stuck together all the way through.
Yeah, certainly the town was you could feel the town behind us. We were, 37 points down at half time.
I think we kicked the last goal before half time. And everything had gone sort of Barney's way, the bounce of the ball. We knew we were getting enough of the footy. They were just converting better. When Barney went off at half time, there might have been a couple of champagne corks popping in the background. They were pretty happy.
Printing their shirts at half time.
It was amazing when you had that belief. It didn't matter if you were 4, 5, 6 goals down at three-quarter time. It's amazing the mind. Oh yeah, we're still in this, boys. We know what we can do.
We'd done it a number of times in the season, so the feeling in the rooms was quite calm. We were all pretty focused still.
You heard a rumour that the major sponsor always cracked the shits at half time.
He did, yeah. So we're down by 37 points in the senior, so he went home to mow the lawns. And
we started to get on top of them, and there was a lot of ball coming into the forward line. 9
goal to 3, third quarter, put us back in the game. I think it was only 9 or 10 points in the three-quarter time. But yeah, turning that 44-point deficit around, we actually got to 24 points up at one stage in the last quarter. They were just pretty dominant, very dominant half of footy. Yeah, we ended up winning by 10 points.
It was a huge sense of relief for me.
The family club that it is, still is. But back then there were some blokes in their late 50s, 60s and 70s that had endured that 36 years since the previous premiership. From cooking hot dogs in a copper pot in a tin shed, that had been John Dale and Jenny Dale, had been president and secretary in all of those sort of positions, and Alex Campbell and Bomber Brown. But I think to have 36-year gap between it and so much hard work.
To finally win it for these older guys, especially Bomber, he was always involved with the players at every function, organising functions. Yeah, it was just, great.
Yeah.
What a comeback. But there was one thing left for us to know. What happened to the major sponsor that decided to leave at half time?
His son played in the reserves premiership, rang his dad and said, we won. He said, yeah, I know, I was there. He said, no, we won the seniors. He said, oh, bullshit. And so he's got off the mower and come into town and the celebrations began. The whole main street of Yackandandah was shut off. They put the bollards up and it was game on.
It was game on indeed. A drought-breaking premiership that's gone down in history. But since then, the Roos haven't repeated the same success.
So we thought we'd ask some hard-hitting questions to their current coach and former Sydney Swan and Fitzroy Lion, Darren Holmes.
Just name again if you want to state your first and last name and then we'll get to it.
Darren Holmes, aka Super Coach, charge of high performance, general manager, psychologist, school teacher, kindergarten teacher, in charge of cuddles. That's about it, isn't it? Did I miss anything? You drive in on a Saturday to the gate, you'll find 4 old blokes standing there, and then they never fail to tell me how good it was in 2000 when they won the premiership and what I need to do to achieve that. And it's a really big thing, and I accept that, and I want that for our community now, and I want it for the guys I coach.
And mate, you obviously play at the highest level.
in the country. Not to try and make it about yourself, but does that, is there things you've brought from your time at that level into your senior team now?
Very much so. There's a lot of things I do based around the small things of footy, the fundamentals of football. It's funny because I'm still remembering things that we did, and I thought, I'll use that. And but then it's, of course, by the time I get around to using it, if I don't write it down, it's gone. So.
Darren just talks a bit about that adaptation from the AFL system back into country footy. Best
thing I ever did. Yep. Playing at that level, like, it's good, it's a thrill, it's an adrenaline rush, but there's no community feel about it. If you were to ask me today, would I prefer to go and watch AFL football? No. The difference is community, and I love it. That's what brings me back, and that's why I'll keep doing what I'm doing until they tell me to leave.
There's one story from Darren's AFL days that we couldn't help but ask, which is synonymous with AFL tragics.
Oh, there's a pig on the ground. There is a pig at full forward.
Now, do you have any idea how many times I've been asked to do this?
Thousands.
I have had Channel 7, Channel 9, Channel 10. I've had the footy show 20 years ago ring me up and, come on the footy show, we'll do this, we'll do that. And I said, no, I'm just not interested. So they put some guy on there and pretended to be me. Okay, so you guys have got the scoop. I tell you what I remember. I remember being on the ground. Now, AFL football for me was a constant battle. The most thing I remember about it was how hard it was, how much there was just no let up, there was no downtime. Your heart rate was 180 or you weren't in it. And I just remember the pig coming out on the ground, and my first thought was, we're getting a breather here. And I didn't even think about the whole plugger thing or how to get out of here. None of that came into my head. I remember looking at the scoreboard and we were getting beaten again, and I just cracked the shit. And I'm watching all these city boys running around trying to, and in the end, I had the shits that bad. I just think, let's just can we get this thing off the ground so we can go? So I just wandered over and I jumped on it. And I just handed it to the guys. For me, it was, can we get back on with the game, please? And that's my main memory of it. And after that, I don't think about it ever, except I get reminded on a weekly basis. It was a funny thing, I suppose, when I look back at it, but it wasn't that hard to catch, fellas. It really wasn't. So,
natural instinct.
Well, I need to admit something. I went back in my day at the Walla Walla Primary School Fate. I did win the pig catching competition and the gumboot throwing competition. So there was a little bit of history there.